Three, two, one. Cool. All right.
Welcome, guys.
Oh, yeah. I want to say welcome.
Welcome, fellow Sunset Chasers, to your new favorite show and podcast, Sunset Chasing with Morgan and Hannah. Sit back, grab your favorite drink, and watch the sunset with us as we talk about life, marriage, God, and girl stuff. Life can be hard, so let's unwind together as the sun goes down. Because like your hosts always say, we found a good one.
Well, Hannah, I think we found a good one.
I think we did as well.
I think it's going to get even better here in a little bit.
Yeah.
What's the name?
Oh, I wasn't thinking about that earlier. What is our name?
God is coming back tonight.
Is that the name?
I can feel the love tonight.
Recently, we're only having like orange sunsets.
I know.
And that's not our average.
I know. Did you see the one last night where it was like a red beam?
Yes.
I was thinking, why are we not filming
I
tonight?
know.
Whenever we go to actually
That's okay.
film.
I have faith in this. I think it's going to get better as we go.
Also, I was just about to say the mosquitoes aren't bad tonight, but one just like
Joke's
attacked me.
on you. Well, that's all right.
Everyone, welcome to Sunset Chasing with Morgan and Hannah.
Yeah, welcome.
We made it.
We made it. It's been a week, but we are here and excited.
Yes.
Unfortunately, the guest that we were going to have was not able to make it with us tonight, and that's okay. So it's just Morgan and I. We're excited to have you here. Yeah. We just want to sit down, chat with you, enjoy our evening together, just talk about life, talk about our dating stories and our proposal stories, and just have a good time.
Yeah. Our topic today is a really fun one. We're talking about, like Hannah said, our proposal stories, our dating stories, and all the funny moments that happened in between, the romantic happenings, whoa, the romantic moments, and just all of that jazz. So the sunset is getting even better.
It is getting good.
I think I'm going to just take a picture and also a little video. There's the sunset. Love that. I think it's going to get even cooler here in a second.
Yes. I hope it gets better. I'm excited for
I am
it
too.
tonight.
I'm hopeful.
So far, I think it has to be like a burnt orange theme right now. Like
a chicken nugget.
It can be the chicken nugget.
Okay. Hannah, tell me your dating and proposal story.
Oh, gosh.
I'm excited for this.
Well, I mean, you were there for like everything.
Was.
So for those of you who don't know, I married I married Morgan's cousin, Ward. Yeah. So we went from being best friends to sisters to cousins to best sister cousins.
Best sister cousin wives.
And it all just started really fast.
It did.
I had been in a relationship before, and that relationship ended probably like a month or a few weeks before it actually started. And when it did happen, I was definitely not searching for a relationship. I was like, I just got out of one.
I remember you telling me. You were like, I'm just going to be content for a while.
Yeah, I'm like, I have no need for this in my life right now. Like, I just want to focus on myself and my relationship with God and just do life. And then you just got married.
Yeah.
And Ward always told me that when I was giving my wedding speech for you, Melissa said that if one of you, so Ward or his brother, if one of you don't snag that girl, like, I'm going to be mad. Yeah. So at that point, like, Ward and I kind of always had a crush on each other.
Yeah, because you had gone on a date in high school.
Right. Well, I wasn't in high school.
Oh, yeah,
he was a senior.
Yeah.
We had just graduated. Yeah. And at that point, I had also just gotten out of a relationship, like 2 months or 3 months before that. So timing never really worked out for us before.
Awkward coffee days.
Yeah. And then you went to Scotland.
Apps toodles.
But yeah, there was nothing really going on. Neither of us were really looking for anything.
Yeah.
You got married. Once you guys kind of got through the initial marriage and like honeymoon phase, we started Bible study back up, and we were both involved in that. And then all of a sudden, next thing I knew,
My chicken just flew all the way over that. Do they do that? Can they fly that high?
apparently,
Okay. Wow. Sunset.
oh, that's so pretty.
So pretty.
Oh my gosh.
That's like Montana nights in Hawaii.
Yes,
Not a chicken nugget.
not a chicken nugget.
No.
This is the Hawaiian Montana sunset.
Yeah.
Does that work? I think
Yeah.
that's fitting. It's starting to turn pink. It's beautiful.
I'm trying to mix the words Montana and Hawaiian together, and it's really hard.
Montayan.
Whoa.
Montayan.
Hawaii Tana.
Montiwi?
Where's the wee from?
Some people who don't know how to pronounce Hawaii pronounce it Hawiwi.
Really?
I have heard that.
Really?
I have had somebody come to my workplace and ask me about it.
Excuse me, do you know where Huiwi is?
Anyways, that went way off subject. Where were we at? Oh, yes. We had just started Bible study back up. Ward and I were both going to that. We were all just being super goofy, having a good time together. And next thing I knew, Ward and I were just walking down your driveway, and his exact words were, "Hannah, do you want to go steady with me?"
I love that.
Which I think is so cute because nobody ever says that anymore.
No, it's not a thing.
It's not. That's just so
It's very
like
old-fashioned.
old-fashioned,
Yeah.
and it's so cute.
Yeah.
So I loved that.
I remember I was like talking to Ward about this leading up to it because we had just went to Mudman and then we went back to our house. And I was like, Ward, I'll think of like some excuse for you to take Hannah. Like for you guys, you would have to leave the house. And at the time, Franklin and I's apartment was kind of small. And I was taking B12 shots and they have to go in the butt. And Franklin was giving them to me in the butt cheek.
Yes, let's clarify.
And so I was like, hey, Ward and Hannah, super sorry. Franklin asked to give me a B12 shot right now. And I like gave Ward the wink. And he was like, yeah, Hannah, want to walk down the driveway with me? So that was the excuse for you guys to get out of the house.
Thank you.
Always
B12 shots.
Taking a shot in the butt for Hannah.
That's what friends do for one
Yeah.
another. I guess kind of fast forward through our relationship. We dated for, we started dating on May 5th back in 2018. We got engaged December 23rd, 2018. And our engagement ended up being quite a bit longer than we initially wanted it to be. And that was just because we were waiting for the house to be built and other things, just my family moving, whole lot of stuff going on. So we didn't get married until September. So we had, I think, that's a 10-month engagement. It felt like forever.
It did. And I wasn't even engaged.
I know. You were just like bystander.
When is this going to happen?
You're like, I'm ready to be your maid of honor. Let's get the ball rolling.
How did Ward ask you to marry him?
That's a funny story. So I knew that it was going to happen.
Yeah.
I was fully aware what was going to happen. I didn't know when exactly it was going to happen, but I had basically been informed that it was going to happen. So I wasn't as surprised as he would have loved for me to be. I love to go look at Christmas lights in the winter. That is like my Christmas tradition. I have to go look at Christmas lights like Christmas Eve or somewhere within the week of Christmas. And so he was like, babe, let's go look at Christmas lights tonight. And we did that, and he was like, let's just start up at Lone Pine.
Yeah.
And let's see if we can just see anything from up there. He wanted to propose up there because that's where we had our first kiss. So that was his initial plan. But we got up there, and it was pitch black, really windy, and you couldn't see any lights.
Yeah.
And you couldn't even see each other.
Yeah.
So we were like, that's not good. I can't see you. I can't propose to you right now. So we decided to just go drive around for a little while and just look around at the different houses in the neighborhoods. And we ended at the Conrad Mansion.
Classic.
And it's so beautiful there in Christmas time. They have all their lights set up. Beautiful. And we're just walking through the Conrad Mansion on their property, just kind of like chilling, having a really good night. And he let me like walk ahead of him, and I didn't realize he wasn't like with me.
Yeah.
And I like just turned around, and he was just like waiting for me on one knee, just like ready to go. And like, I was surprised, don't get me wrong, but I wasn't as surprised as he was expecting me to be.
Yeah.
So for him, it was underwhelming. A lot.
Yeah.
And if you asked him that, he would say, yeah, that sucked. Because he was expecting like the cover your face moment, big gasp, tears everywhere.
Yeah.
And that was not me at all. I tried so hard to be surprised. And like I was, but I wasn't. Yeah. Because I knew. Yeah. But anyways, it was super cute. And then we went home and told his parents first, because we were at his house. And then I went home and told my folks. And
That's awesome.
And then it happened. That's just what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how long have you been married now?
It'll be 2 years in September. Yeah. So we're getting really, really close now. Right now it's July, so we're just a couple months away, which is insane.
I know.
Because I was
crazy.
Because in May I was like, holy cow, we've been dating. For 3 years. Yeah. And I was like, time flies.
And how about your honeymoon?
Oh. Hannah's honeymoon started off rough. That's an understatement. Yeah. Like that it was.
You have like a honeymoon horror story.
I do have a honeymoon horror story. Basically, we decided we wanted to honeymoon in Oregon. Yeah. We were staying in this cute little town called Seaside, and it's about a 12-hour drive from where we live to there. And so we were in the car. We left at like 5 a.m. And we were in the car all day long. And I was doing great the entire day. Like nothing wrong. I felt good. We were having a good time. And we get there and we were starving because all we just had was just like snack junk food on our way. And we were like, where are we going to eat? So we were like, oh, well, there's a McDonald's. Let's stop by there and just grab something quick, go to the hotel room, and just kind of relax and let our bodies just chill because we've been driving all day. Yeah. Well, we get to the hotel room about a good half an hour, 45 minutes after arrival. I got severely ill. I can't say it was food poisoning because that's not the diagnosis that I was given at the emergency room. Yeah. But basically what happened, and I'm not going to go into all the details because ew. But when I start to get sick, it like triggers my body into an anxiety attack. And so I was starting to get sick, and it was our honeymoon. Yeah. So I was like,
I can't get sick right now.
Yeah. Like, this is not what's supposed to happen. So it made me panic more. Like, it made it worse because it's like, this is the first time I've really been sick in front of, I mean, it wasn't necessarily the first time, but the first serious time. Yeah. And I was like, this is not going to be pretty, and it's our honeymoon. Yeah. Like, so I got sick, and I couldn't breathe. Like, my throat was starting to close because of the anxiety attack. And so Ward had to rush me to the emergency room. And I don't remember it, but this is what he has always told me. He had to get help from one of the service people in the hotel. Oh, yeah. And they put me on one of those
luggage carriers.
Ward picked me up and put me on that. And I was holding one of their pillows. And I was just like in and out of consciousness, basically. Like, it just was not happening because I was not getting any air. Yeah. And so that when it was raining, of course, that night as well. Good. Because it's Oregon and it always rains. And so it was just not a good night. We got there. I think we were in the emergency room for like 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah, it takes a while.
And they weren't very nice about it. They were like, you're just having a really bad anxiety attack and you need to get over it. Good basically grief. Is what they told me. And they asked me if I'm like diagnosed with an anxiety panic disorder, and I was like, no. I'm not. Like, this is just how my body reacts. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. But anyways, we got through that, went back to the hotel, slept it off, didn't I didn't eat the entire next day because it just made me not feel good. We still went out and did things. We just, instead of going to the Tillamook factory like we had planned the next day, we did that later on. And we just kind of chilled in the hotel room, walked on the beach, and my stomach finally adjusted and got better, but it took a little while to get there. So if you have a nightmare story like mine, let me know.
Yeah.
I am actually really curious because it never seems like anybody does, and I'm feeling kind of lonely. Out there.
Let us know in the comments
Yes.
on YouTube if you're watching this on YouTube.
Yes.
Or if you see it on Facebook or Instagram.
Morg, what about yours? Tell me about how you and Frank started.
Well, I am married to Franklin or Frank, sometimes Frankel or Frankie. Franklin kind of came out of nowhere. He was going to a different church. He was in the homeschool community. I was kind of in the homeschool community growing up. I went to an actual high school. He didn't. So it's weird that we never crossed paths until we did. But one night I saw him at youth group, and something in me was just like, you gotta introduce yourself to this kid. And so I'm not this kind of person at all. I went up to him and I was like, hi, my name is Morgan. Who are you? And he was like, I'm Franklin. And Franklin is kind of shy. So he was like, who is this chick? Why is she talking to me? And so Franklin would just kind of come around church and hang out and just kind of be in the behind the scenes stuff. But I kind of knew who he was just from introducing myself to him. And one night, I never really gave him any thought. One night I was walking in the gym with an old friend of mine, and she was like, who's that? And I was like, oh, that's Franklin. He had this white t-shirt on and jeans that were rolled up so he could play basketball. And he was looking fine. And she was like, well, he's really cute. And if you don't get him, I will. And I was like, okay, I'll get him. So Franklin actually followed me on all the social medias that night, and we started talking because I was about to start a job the same place that he had been working, so I wanted some advice. So we just kind of started DMing, and after a while, he asked me if I wanted to go out swing dancing with him, and that was our first date. We went swing dancing, and it was a magical night. And I still actually wasn't really even sure of him. And 2 days after that, I left for the summer for a missions trip. And he was the only person that kept in touch with me 24/7, always made sure I was okay and doing okay. And
I remember that.
Meant so much to me. And when we got back, he, the day after I got back, he talked to my dad, and then he asked me out to be his girlfriend. So that was in June of 2018, and we dated until January of 2019 when he asked me to marry him, which was a very special time. We said I love you to each other in July, so after a month we'd been dating, he said he loved me, and I told him I loved him too. And then by November, we knew that we wanted to get married, that we were meant for each other. And then in January, he took me on a date. We had weekly date nights, so I just thought it was one of those. He wanted to take me out to dinner and then take me ice skating, but we got to the ice skating rink and they were having a game there, so we couldn't ice skate, so we had to make up things to do until it was actually time to propose to me because my parents were coming to take pictures of the proposal. So he ended up driving me all over this town that we were in, and I was getting so bored and fed up, and I just wanted to go home and lay down. And he wanted to go get frozen yogurt, so we went to go get frozen yogurt. And as we were coming out of the frozen yogurt shop, it was winter time, and in this town they had beautiful Christmas decor that I've always loved looking at. And it's just this Hallmark movie town.
It really is.
It's so beautiful. And we walked out to the street corner, and I looked at him and I was like, babe, what are we doing? I just want to go home. And he looked at me, and I could see the emotion shift in his face. And he said, I love you, and a couple other things. But as soon as he said, I love you, I was like, oh, shoot, it's happening. And he said, I love you, and other stuff that I don't remember. And then he got down on one knee. And this caught me so, I knew that this was coming. but it caught me so off guard because why is Franklin proposing to me in front of people?
Yeah, that's not like him.
This is not like him. And actually, moments before this, he took me to the lake in this town, and you could, like, snow was gently falling, and there was a light post, and you could see the ski mountain with all the twinkling lights, and it was like out of a storybook. And he walked me out to the end of the dock, and we were looking and being all lovey, and he looked at me, and he was like, well, I'm cold, let's go. And I thought that was the moment, and so all of my hopes were just, like, dead. And so I think that's why I was cranky, too, by the time he actually went to ask me, but I'm so glad that he asked me where he did, because it was so beautiful. So that's how that happened, and I did not want a long engagement because I do not see the point. I don't need fancy anything. I just wanted to get married to him, and so we got married 4 months later in April.
Yeah.
3 months later.
I think it was roughly 3 months.
Yeah. So it all happened super fast. It was like the best day ever, super chill. And then that night we went to a lodge, and, you know, I don't think it was you. I think someone else was tasked with putting things in my car that, like, I would need that night.
Yeah, it was not me.
Like my shoes and, you know, toiletries and just, like, things that I needed to live. And we got to the lodge, and I went to get my stuff, and it was not in the car. And I was like, what? No. And I had to call Franklin's mom, and she and all of my little in-law siblings came in the car with her to give me my stuff. So that was super embarrassing, which is kind of cool because the same thing happened to my mom on her wedding day. So history's just repeating itself, I guess. So that was weird because I was like, bye, new mother-in-law. I'm going to go up to the room now and make love with your son.
As most do.
As most do on their honeymoon.
What do you expect?
But actually, we then, on our way to this lodge, we stopped at a grocery store in our wedding attire to get food because we didn't have time to, like, eat at
Your wedding?
the wedding. So we, like, walked in, and the cashier people were being just super weird. Like, what are you guys doing? And I was like, we just got married, duh. Like, I'm in a wedding dress. Anyways, so after my mother-in-law left, I went upstairs with Franklin, and we ate our food while we watched My 600-Pound Life on TV.
So romantic. Nothing puts you in the mood like My 600-Pound Life.
I don't think any action happened until, like, after we had napped for a while until, like, 3 a.m.
So funny.
My mom is here filming, and she literally just wants to die right now.
She does so badly. Back up a little bit here.
Yeah, okay.
So I remember when you came back from your, like, missions work that you were doing.
Yeah.
And at that point, you were, like, basically dating Franklin.
Yeah.
And I was so confused.
Yeah.
I was like, one, we didn't get a chance to talk
No.
to each other much that
We
summer
didn't.
because you really didn't have much access to
Yeah.
your phone except for during the evenings.
Yeah.
And so, like, our conversations were just very short, brief, to the point.
Yes.
Like, how are you? We're great. Okay,
Cool.
bye.
Are you alive still?
Yeah. So I was so confused when you got back because when you left, you were just kind of, like, up in the air.
Yeah, I
You
didn't
were
really
like,
know much about this kid.
You didn't really know him all that great, and you were like, he's kind of goofy, but, like, attractive, but you're just not sure how you're feeling. And then you come back and you're like, hey, we're dating. And I'm like, great.
Ladies, do not settle because I felt like I had been settling all throughout high school and after college, and I just was never happy. And Franklin was, like, the first person who old-fashioned, like, asked my dad to take me out swing dancing. He pursued me. He checked up on me on the morning and at night and was always caring for me. And just, like, don't settle because you think you need to or have to. Like, and Hannah can attest to that too.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was in a relationship all of high school just about.
Yeah.
Dated the same guy for 3 years. And naturally you think, oh, we've been dating forever. We're going to get married. Things are all going to be great and we're going to live happily ever after. And that's just not what happened. Like, it started off just fine, but we were young and things just did not go as planned.
Yeah.
And definitely, like, if you're going to base a relationship on something, base it off of God. And if that's not the center of it, then you need to maybe think about what you want out of your relationship.
Yeah. Hello, fellow Sunset Chasers. It's Morgan here. If you're watching on YouTube, sorry for the quick pause. If you're listening on one of our podcast streaming platforms, then you don't really have to worry about this, but please keep listening because I'm going to go into detail about everyone's dating and proposal stories that they sent in to us. We're running out of daylight on our filming, so we're pausing, and I am just going to talk about that here. So the first story that we have is my sister-in-law, Caitlin, and she dated for a year and 1 month before my brother-in-law proposed to her. She said what's funny is the whole week before Caleb popped the question, she kept telling him that she was so done with not being together all the time, and she was sick of leaving him. He told her on July 3rd that he needed just a little more time to think about all of this marriage stuff, and little did she know that when they went on their hike on July 4th, he would propose at the top of their hike. It caught her off guard, and they've almost been married for a year now, and she shared some photos that were super sweet. This next one is one of my favorites. Ashley S. wrote that Nate, her husband, now put the ring on Chubby, their dog's collar, to find it. And of course, Ashley was going to the bathroom hanging out with the dog when she found it. I love that. My cousin Sarah P. said that she dated her husband for 8 months before he proposed. He took her to Dairy Queen for ice cream in a drive up a road of ours, and he proposed to her next to the river. She said the funny thing is he wanted to take her to a nice restaurant and had it all planned out, and she told him she just wanted to get Dairy Queen and go on a drive, so he had to improvise. And one of our next ones is by Mary Cat W. She said that her and her husband Derek had been friends for 6 years before they started dating. They knew when they started dating that they would eventually get married. They had been dating long distance for about a year and a half when they decided it might be okay if they lived in the same town for a while before they got married. Derek was living in Phoenix, so MCAT moved. A month after she moved, Derek called her and said he had an hour free if she wanted to meet him for lunch. So she met him for lunch at Wendy's. They sat down with their cute little plastic forks and tasty salads, and he pulled out his BlackBerry. And he casually says, "Okay, here's the deal. I'm traveling a lot this next year. I'm thinking we can get married either this February or next September." And at the time, it was October. MCAT was silent, and Derek finally looked up and saw her face. He didn't exactly know what emotion she was feeling. She had some tears and kind of a shocked face, and she said to him, "Are you actually asking me to marry you at a Wendy's on a Tuesday?" Derek maintains to this day that he was just making the plan. They got engaged at a Wendy's on a Tuesday over salad. But MCAT did mention he got down on one knee in a vineyard in Napa Valley at Thanksgiving to make it actually official. However, it was the same weekend they were sending invitations out, and she had already had her dress. I love that. The next one, and also, if you guys are so tired of these dating proposal stories, totally feel free to skip ahead. I could never get enough of these, so if you're like me, just keep on listening. Alicia B. said, "Micah and I dated for 1 year, and we were engaged for 6 months. On our way up to Lone Pine, where Micah would soon propose, Micah said he nearly said we might as well get it out in the open what's about to happen since we both see it coming. He was so nervous to propose he assumed I knew. He bit his tongue, and we climbed up the snow-carved steps to a tree we would sit by and look over the valley frequently in our dating relationship. He and his good friend carved out a big heart in the snow and had flower petals that spelt out, "Will you marry me?" with 2 bouquets of roses. She joyfully said yes to forever. I love that one. Oh, I love my favorite out of any and all dating and proposal stories are my parents. And I think that's how it is with everybody, but just listen. This is a good one. My parents met on October 1st through a mutual friend at Bojangles, a restaurant. So they met on October 1st. They got engaged on December 1st. They said that they were talking about marriage 3 days after they had met each other. And then after they got engaged on December 1st, they got married in April. And my mom always says, when you know, you know. And they've been married for almost 25 years. Isn't that crazy? I love that. I can't get enough of it. I've absolutely loved these. If you guys have awesome dating proposal stories, we would still love to hear them. We'll probably have another episode on this at some point in the future. Thanks for listening, and let's get back to the episode.
So our passage tonight is 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 7. It says, love is patient, love is kind. Love does not envy, is not boastful, is not arrogant, is not rude, is not self-seeking, is not irritable, and does not keep record of wrongs. Love finds no joy in unrighteousness, but rejoices in truth. It bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. And then I just like the beginning of verse 8. It goes in and it says, love never ends.
Yeah, me too. For sure.
I think that just that just perfectly paints a picture of what a relationship should look like, not only with your spouse or significant other if you're dating, but with God as well. Like that, it's just beautiful.
Yeah.
It just goes to show that you need to be very willing to not focus on yourself, but the other person in the relationship as well, because it takes a lot of work in a relationship to
the ultimate
maintain.
relationship example is Christ in the church.
Absolutely.
And you know, like what it means to be the bride and what it means to be the groom. And that's why I love this, because love is Jesus and God, and love is patient, and love is kind, and it does not envy. And when like I always did this when I was like thinking about a guy, like I replaced his name with love, and none of them made the cut until I met Franklin. Franklin is patient. Franklin is kind. Franklin doesn't envy. He's not boastful or arrogant. And as soon as it like fit, I was like, okay, I can't let this guy go. And I just think that's so important for you ladies. If you're in a relationship, put your guy's name in there. And if he doesn't measure up, like, I mean,
you have to make that judgment of, is that something that you
pray
think
about it.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't want to put yourself in a relationship that isn't going to go anywhere.
Yeah, you want a partnership that will like look towards God and to glorify him and to honor him above anything else.
I think it's really important that you both have the focus of wanting God being in the center of your relationship. If you both aren't on that page, it makes it so difficult. Like I know my grandma growing up, she and my grandpa, and they're still married, they're still together and very much in love, but she was pursuing God and he kind of wasn't. And I just know, like, my dad kind of told me that it was just kind of hard on their marriage. Because when somebody wants one thing and the other person doesn't, you're trying to be as selfless as you can be, because you are seeking that relationship with Christ, and who isn't the biggest picture of selflessness other than Christ? Like,
you have to be equally yoked.
You do. And then when that other person isn't seeking that relationship, they're very self-focused. And they're not thinking of your needs over theirs sometimes. And it's just really difficult to work through.
Sure. So look up 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 7, and insert your significant other's name in there. It's the Bible love test.
Yes.
So I think we caught a really good sunset tonight.
We did. It was so good.
I think this is our longest episode yet, but there was just so much to say and talk about.
There was.
This is like our favorite thing to talk about.
Yes, this is something we could talk about forever.
Yeah, we'll have to do like an episode on like our bridal showers and bachelorette parties or something.
Oh gosh.
Next week, we'll be talking about health and hormones and environmental toxins, and this has affected Hannah and I's lives greatly.
Something we're very passionate
about.
So tune in.
Yes, we're going to try and have 2 guest speakers this time. So that should be exciting.
That should be super exciting.
Yeah.
That'll bring just so much input and information. It
Yeah.
might be a little overwhelming,
Yeah.
but it's going to be good.
Yeah, it will.
So super excited for that.
If you guys have enjoyed this video, make sure to give us a like on YouTube or a follow on Spotify.
And subscribe.
Subscribe. Your support means the world. We love
Yes.
having girl time with you.
Also, please leave us comments. We
Yeah.
want to read through them and just
nice comments.
yeah. We want to read through them and just like respond to you,
Yeah,
interact
get to know
with you. Give you a shout out on our next video if we see something out
Yeah.
there that we just really loved and wanted to share. Like we want
Video suggestions.
yeah, like we want to interact with you. So
Yeah,
like give
for
us
sure.
some ideas.
Well, are we ready to be done?
I think we're
and
ready.
go to bed.
Yes.
Okay. You guys have been watching
Sunset Chasing with Morgan and Hannah. Good night.